battles that you could see, the Wednesday night 7, 10, 8, 9 games could almost be the Big 12's version of Dayton. Win a game on Wednesday night, it might put you in the field.
Any team that wins on Wednesday night can get to the final, Bob. Never that I've been around this league for 20 years have I seen the balance from 10 all the way up to 1. That's how evenly matched this league is.
Would you say tonight for Oklahoma State is a must-win?
I think so. Yep, because they go on the road to Tech, then they've got to play in Kansas City next week. You don't want to be 16-16 trying to talk your way into the field. 17 tonight and an 8th win in conference would sound awfully good on the resume.
And they will once again have to try to do that without Avery Anderson. That's a big injury for Oklahoma State as well.
Absolutely.
John Michael Wright runs the point with Anderson out of commission until it looks like at least the NCAA tournament, if they're able to get there. In and out from the wing. Boone, an offensive rebound in traffic. He goes up with the left hand, can't get it to go. A 50-50 ball. That is one. Wide open, Woody Newton. He can't hit the three, so hustle plays. Caleb Asbury kept the possession alive, but coming away empty, the Pokes.
I feel like it's the 41st minute of the game I saw on Saturday against Kansas State because this Cowboy team played very well. Could not knock down key shots.
It looks like a whistle on the floor and a foul called before the shot. So that'll go against Caleb Asbury.
With George home, and he's resting and watching this game, Langston Love, the redshirt freshman who missed last season, going to be an outstanding player. He gets to start tonight in that backcourt.
Flagler gets things started from the corner.
Way too easy. You cannot start a game with a scouting report play and not realize Flagler's going to get that corner three.
Right, sets up Asbury. He can't answer. Thamba sets the screen. Flagler picks up his dribble. Needs some help. Shake and bake for Cryer. There's the Langston Love step back. That won't go. And losing it off the left leg was John Michael Wright. Talking to Scott Drew earlier today. He knows if he's got Keontae George, he has a team that can make a run. But it's still a somewhat inexperienced team, certainly with a freshman playing such a key role compared to those veteran grizzled guys that he had a few years ago winning a national championship. Is Wright with a steal. Cruises in for two.
Well, people don't realize this. This is somewhat of a mixed bag because veterans like Thamba, Flagler, Cryer, and also 3 freshmen for Baylor that are in the rotation.
NBA range for Cryer, who connects.
These two guys, Flagler and Cryer, as good as there is in America shooting that 3 ball off the dribble.
Newton left alone. That's too strong. So Oklahoma State has missed some wide open threes in the first couple of minutes. Thamba tried to go backdoor. Good hands by Caleb Boone to knock it out.
What a great year L.J. Cryer is having. Take a look. It's all off the bounce. Gets behind the screen, knocks it down. And these guys, Bob, and we count George in this, half their threes they make off the dribble, which is very usually I pass it to you, you shoot it. These guys create that three-point opportunity with the dribble.
Chris Harris comes on for the first time, replacing Woody Newton. And there's another jumper.
Bingo.
That one goes down for L.J. Cryer, and a terrific start for Baylor.
Effortless.
Bryce Thompson is bumped by Flo Thamba.
Looking at a guy in Flo Thamba, the winningest player in Baylor history. His 5th year, he was a starter on that national championship team and just celebrated a birthday.
With his best game of the season.
That's right. Double-double against Texas.
And Scott Drew told us earlier today, wish him a happy birthday, because in my opinion, it's his birthday every day the rest of the year if he plays like that. No call there for Thamba, and Bryce Thompson after Thamba flopped and it was not bought, knocks one down.
I like it. I hate the flop rule. Let it go. If there's not enough contact, let it go. Otherwise, it's a block or a charge. Lowe was lucky, too, by the way, because that could have been a quick second foul.
Thamba goes back door. Yes. Terrific find, plus the foul. Flagler with the assist and a chance for a three-point play.
Let's take a look right here. Now, Thamba's trying to draw contact. Take a look right here. There's contact, and he falls down. Now, on the other end, watch this one-handed catch. On the move, then a nice finish at the rim for the young man from the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Caleb Boone was called for the foul. He takes a seat. Musa Cisse comes on for the first time for the Pokes. An offensive rebound for Jalen Bridges.
Jalen Bridges is to Baylor what Kevin McCullough is to Kansas. They're basically the same exact player.
He'll try a three. In and out. An offensive rebound for Thamba. And it becomes a 4-point trip with 2 offensive rebounds to keep the possession alive.
And if I'm Oklahoma State right now, I better match the intensity of the Baylor Bears, or we're going to have a long night here in Galgaiva Arena.
Cisse in the post. Ball movement. Sets up a triple. And that one won't go. A miss for Chris Harris.
Right now, the difference in this early part of the game is skill level. Bears making shots. Cowboys are not.
Pryor for three. Wright runs down the rebound. Bodies tumble. And no foul is called as Bryce Thompson got tied up with Love. From the corner, it's Thompson. That one comes up just a little bit short.
Scott Drew said, all right, we've been fast breaking enough. Let's catch our breath. We've got a TV timeout coming.
Oklahoma State is 0 for 6 from three-point land and find themselves down by 8. Adam Flagler, just a little too strong. The high point transfer, John Michael Wright with space. That's too strong as well. There's a lid on the basket at the offensive end for Oklahoma State. And a tough collision in the corner. It looks like Bryce Thompson was shaken up on that play. An 8-point lead early for Baylor. Might not understand all of them. What's the most important one on that list?
I think it's the net, because that's what the NCAA, it's not the be-all, end-all. It gives you an analytical view of a team. The strength of schedule with the net is important. 46 is right in the wheelhouse of a team that's an 8, 9, 10 seed. But, Bob, you can't keep can't keep losing these opportunities. They had Kansas State beat on Saturday with an 8-point lead in the second half. Off to a slow start tonight. They're injured, but nobody cares in this league, okay? Nobody's going to have a pity party for Mike Boynton's team.
Oklahoma State, 2 for 10 from the field, 0 of 7 from 3. And now they're going to put Jonathan Chama-Chachua at the line. And there is Avery Anderson, one of the 3 players on this team that averages double figures.
Right.
And as important offensively as you could be to Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I think so. He's not Mike Miles, missing 6 games for TCU, but right there with him. You know, when you lose Mike Miles, it's losing Mahomes. This is like losing a good starting quarterback. You're the Jets announcer in the NFL. And so it hurts their team. But Texas Tech, these guys, Oklahoma State, TCU, have all battled injuries throughout the season. And in this league, it's unforgiving.
Double-digit lead for Baylor.
Very workmanlike so far, first 5 minutes for Baylor Bears.
Freshman Keon Williams in for the first time for Oklahoma State. That skip pass is saved, right for 3. Finally a triple goes down for Oklahoma State.
Good ball movement right there, and a good look by John Michael Wright, the high point transfer.
Pick and roll. Laying it in, Chamo Chachua.
John is back in many ways. One of the things he does great, he is a great screener. And you watch him all night, he is the best talker on defense in the Big 12. He is a defensive quarterback for this Bears team.
Back-to-back threes, and there's the freshman Keon Williams knocking down his first look.
Well, Keon is not known to do that, but they really could use that. That's only his 7th three of the season, the freshman from Jonesboro, Arkansas. Timely.
So after missing their first 7, they knocked down their last 2. Chamo Chachua, tough shot, well short. Cisse, the one-arm rebound.
Yeah, and especially because he's shooting over Cisse.
He's feeling it. And a little too strong for the freshman, but kept it alive with the right hand did Keon Williams. Right for 3. Another long rebound. Asbury thought about it and pulls it back down, and they'll work the fresh shot clock.
Well, you're right, Bob. They are getting great looks. Nice
now they go down low, but Cisse couldn't handle the entry.
And he was open.
Bonner from the wing. Yes!
I want to tell you something. He saved Baylor's bacon on Saturday, Dale Bonner, and he's off to a great start tonight. This young man sat the bench for about 3 weeks because Scott Drew wanted to get Langston Love more minutes, and he has been a great teammate. Look at this.
And let's see if a foul is called. It will be on Bonner. But this is such a pay-your-dues program, isn't it, Baylor? There are so many examples of players that have sat the bench or redshirted,
no doubt,
and have become pros off of that experience under Scott Drew.
It's a great point, Bob. They are a great player development program. And I got to tell you, Adam Flagler might be the last transfer that ever redshirted, because now you're eligible right away. And Dale Bonner's a great example. No Division I offers. He came out of Fairmont State, a D2 school.
Hanging in the lane and getting it to go is Tyreek Smith. But you ran down the list of all of the players that either transferred and or redshirted in their time at Baylor and have gone on to have great college careers and become pros, maybe because of that development.
5 different players Baylor's had who have redshirted and ended up playing in the NBA.
Boy, in this era of the one-and-done McDonald's All-Americans, freshmen right to the NBA, to think about that developmental aspect to your program is special.
Absolutely.
And right now they're a 2 seed. We'll see if that holds. It's Big Monday in Stillwater.
Games, you got at least 3 teams playing for NCAA tournament bids. Oklahoma, number 10 right now, Bob. They've got 3 wins over ranked teams.
And they're at the bottom of the league.
They're at the bottom of the league. By the way, they beat the number 2 team in the country, Alabama, by 24. Not to denigrate Alabama. They've got a great team, but the point is the 10th place team in this league right now can play with anybody in America.
Now, there's not one team on that list that anyone wants to see in their bracket in the NCAA tournament, all the way down to the teams playing on Wednesday night.
Well, Mike Boynton told us today, I've heard this from a couple other Big 12 head coaches, we can't wait to get to the NCAA tournament and play somebody other than a team in the Big 12.
Lothamba just picked up his 2nd foul, so the first player in any type of foul trouble. He sits down. So Chamo Chachua will man the middle for Baylor.
You know, it's not long ago we wouldn't even be saying Chamo Chachua tonight. You know, who thought he was going to be back after 51 weeks?
Boone off the window, can't get it to go, and there is Everyday John with the rebound.
He's still screening, he's still rebounding, he's still playing defense.
Pryor drives it, gets caught in midair and gets shut down. A takeaway as Woody Newton got the loose ball.
Going to be hard to outscore the Baylor Bears tonight, so every possession for Oklahoma State is critical. Can't turn it over, have to continue to get good looks.
This time Smith rolls, and a foul called on the floor.
You can see on Jonathan Chamo Chachua's left calf, there's a brace that he wears that goes all the way up to the top, and then a carbon fiber plate under his left foot to give it extra support. It's interesting when they were trying to figure out what they could use to give it a little extra to prevent it from dropping. They got it from a player in the NBA, so it's been everything to be able to help just give him a little, I think, extra when he's out there.
That's a great point, Chris. We asked Dave Snyder, the trainer, today, where is he in a percentage of where he was last year? And he said, Dave said, we don't even talk about that. We're thinking of the John Chachua going forward, the new one. So the old one is gone for good.
Boone's floater won't go. The Smith follow also won't go. He's fighting for it, tries again. Love got poked in the eyes, and a foul was called. It looks like they'll get Jalen Bridges for the foul.
Good effort here by Tyreek Smith. Take a look right now. And just on that swipe by Tyreek, accidentally hits Langston in the eye.
So let's see if Langston Love can stay in the game, as the two teams are being sent to their respective benches while they take a look at Langston Love.
Yeah, I don't think they need to go to the monitor at all, thankfully. But Langston's shaken up, young man from Universal City, Texas, right outside of San Antonio. And last year, John, as a freshman, he had 13 points in a scrimmage against Texas A&M. Looked like he was going to really be a big factor, and that's when he tore the ACL in that scrimmage. So like Chachua, he is still working his way back, but he's got a great future.
L.J. Cryer comes back in, as Langston Love is going to try and clear the eyes up on the bench. Boone sets the screen. Right to the elbow. A floater. Short. Follow. He can't make the bunny. Finds it again in traffic.
Well, these are missed opportunities right now.
Boone looks diagonal. Right for three this time. That won't go. There's Tyreek Smith keeping it alive on the offensive glass. So Asbury shovels one to Boone. Gets met at the rim by Chachua, and the ball rolls through.
It's like a guy going to the penthouse. The elevator opens. There's somebody waiting for him, and he still walks through.
Bonner. That's rejected by Smith. Asbury to the corner. Wide open three. Off the heel. Another hustle play by Tyreek Smith.
Well, Scott Drew wanted energy to start this game, and right now Oklahoma State's got the energy.
Asbury takes the bump, throws one up, and right now Jerry Pollard is going nose to nose with Scott Drew. And Pollard, I'm not sure if he teed him up. He is over at the scorer's table, but that is about as emphatic an argument between coach and official as you will see. And it looks like a technical foul has been called on Scott Drew.
Here's what's interesting. Saturday in the Kansas State game, right here in this building, in the same exact spot, Jerome Tang picked up a technical foul in the second half. A coincidence or not, Kansas State went on a 24-13 finish to that game. Could be that Scott Drew's sending a message, but he's also telling his team, you have been outworked the last few minutes on the glass.
Asbury makes them count, and all of a sudden we've got a one-possession game.
Take a look now. Watch the top of this. You'll see Scott Drew. He's out on the court, and he's demonstrative, and that's probably a little too much.
There's the tee.
Yep. Jerry Pollard waited long enough. He heard enough. I know there was no prevent. I mean, we know that. It's Scott Drew. But I think Scott Drew was just... He might be sending his team a message.
There might have been some darns and hicks in there somewhere.
There was a few darn dag-nabbit and shucks. Jerome Tang got a technical same situation the other night.
Boone faces up on Bamba. Spins baseline. A little too strong.
Boy, so you just cannot miss those shots. Not with what's at stake.
Bamba has his pocket picked. Asbury the other way. Crosses over. Lost control. Run down by John Michael Wright.
tell you, Dale Bonner, he is the best perimeter defender for this Baylor team. He's a nuisance right now.
Tyreek Smith fumbled it out of bounds. Well, tomorrow night, join us for a Super Tuesday college basketball doubleheader at 7 Eastern. NC State beats Duke, and then another big one in the Big 12. Texas Tech and number 3 Kansas. Both games on ESPN and the app.
Texas Tech they really were left for dead a few games ago. Despite the loss to TCU at home, that is a very dangerous team. Starting to get healthy.
They're not on the same level record-wise, or probably thought of the same way NCAA tournament-wise as a team like Oklahoma State. But if they were to get a win against Kansas tomorrow night, where would that put them?
In the discussion, that's for sure.
Bonner can't hit the three. The back tap, run down by Cryer. Lohner left alone. Off the heel, and Tyreek Smith another rebound. Oklahoma State is 1 for their last 9 from the field, and yet they're only down by 3.
Well, their defense has definitely picked up after Baylor got off to a hot start with those 3 balls.
Newton. A follow by Caleb Boone. And he may have stepped on the end line. A 3-point game on Big Monday here at Gallagher Iba Arena.
To be able to commit to rebounding. He said we were playing with such good rhythm early on. We were rebounding. We've lost that. As for Langston Love, he's gone back into the locker room. He tried to come out for a bit, but it scratched the inside of his eye. When he realized he still was having trouble seeing and was in pain, he went back into the locker room.
And they're already without Keontae George as well. So a couple of players down right now for Baylor, but their guards continue to knock them down as L.J. Cryer converts again. And the lead back up to 5.
LJ's one of those guys you talked about earlier who waited his turn. Highly recruited on that national championship team. He only played 10 minutes a game.
Asbury, bounce pass to Boone. Fumbled it. Regathers and scores.
Caleb Boone is much improved this year as a senior, Bob. And he's had some big nights. 27 against Kansas. They have to continue to look for him inside.
Cryer, left alone, makes them
money.
pay.
He is money. Got a great story about him, Bob. He wanted to go to Purdue, recruited heavily by Matt Painter, and Jaden Ivey committed to Purdue before he could tell Matt Painter yes. And LJ told me today he cried like a baby when he was told that he wasn't going to Purdue. Good effort right there, a foul. But the next thing he wanted to do, he said, where can I play in the biggest conference in the country? If I can't play in the Big Ten, I want to play in the Big 12. And he ended up at Baylor. It's worked out great. But remember, this kid, one of the all-time leading scorers in the history of the state of Texas. I mean, the history that changed. I mean, now Jaden Ivey's in the NBA after 2 years at Purdue. The reason he liked Purdue is because Carson Edwards was such a great little guy scorer, if you will. You know, he's 6'1" or so. And both from Houston. And so he grew up idolizing Carson Edwards, thought he'd be ended up in the black and gold at Purdue Boilermakers. And history was rearranged a little bit, and he's going to have a great career.
Yeah, from the same neighborhood, I could see that. Guy looks like me, plays like me, has that kind of success.
Yep.
Why not go there, try and emulate that? But you know what? He ended up at a pretty good school for guards.
I'd say so. We got more guards here than Buckingham Palace.
I think I've heard you use that one
I
before.
have. I don't want to say Rikers Island.
Bring back your good
I could
stuff.
say Rikers Island, but nobody would like that.
I get that
I just
reference.
said it, I guess.
John Machachua to Bridges.
Too much
7
dribble.
to shoot. Spin cycle. Left hand.
Oh,
yes.
Man. My bad. Great footwork right there. Came to an under control jump stop. Great footwork. Educated feet right there.
That's a sweet drive by Keon Williams.
Good effort by the freshman. When I watched him early in the year, I said Eddie Sutton would love this kid. Tough, hard-nosed, plays good D. He is the first cousin of Desi Sills at Kansas State, both from Jonesboro. Bad pass.
And a Baylor turnover. I'll tune in Saturday for a full day of college hoops. The top teams of the Big 12 square off at 4 Eastern, 3 Central. It's as good as it gets. Kansas, Texas, and then Duke, North Carolina. At 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, number 8 Arizona takes on number 4 UCLA. That's a pretty good lineup. All the games on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Oklahoma State, they've got a new wrinkle to their offense. This is called a triple post. And they got guys cutting off Cisse, and it ain't working.
And Woody Newton tried to split the defense, turned it over. Cryer hits the 3. And a timeout immediately called by Oklahoma State and Mike Boynton from the bench. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. Baylor back on top by 9.
From Katy, Texas, and Dad was a linebacker for Eddie Robinson at Grambling. Brothers heading to Northwestern to play football. Justin, this guy's the basketball guy in the family.
Now, talking about the importance of Jonathan Tchamwa returning off of the double surgeries for the Baylor lineup. L.J. Cryer had off-season foot surgery last year, missing basically the last month of Baylor's season as well. So good to see him back at full strength this year.
I'd say from February 1st on last year, he might have played in one game. Certainly not in the NCAA tournament, Bob. Good point.
John Michael Wright dribbling down the shot clock. Asbury's going to have to force one up. The long rebound, though, to Cisse. Had his pocket picked, though. Taken away by Flagler.
Let's see what they've got coming out of a timeout. I'd say get it to LJ. Whoa.
Bonner surprised by the pass from Bridges. The quick adjustment. Here's Bridges for 3. That's well short, but it falls off the foot of Cisse and goes out of bounds. So it'll be back to Baylor when we return. Big Monday, and the Bears with a 9-point lead. ESPN.
Four-man. I mean, you're playing Jalen Bridges at the 4. He's really small forward. But, Fran, I got a question for you. We know the Big 12 is the best conference in college basketball. Then how come the Big 10 has 9 teams in the tournament right now?
Because there's 15 teams in that league. You know, that's the beauty of the Big 12. Double round robin. It's hard to tell. Hey, Big 10's a good league. We know that, Bob. There's no denying that. But 15 teams in the league, and you never know whose strength of schedule is where because all the best teams don't play each other twice. The tough part about this league is you win a game at home and the other team is ready to rip your head off when you go on the road to their place. And it's going to go away next year because of the expansion of the league.
Asbury with 3 to shoot. Gets caught under the basket. Bailed out. Nope, he stepped on the end line. I thought Jerry Pollard had a foul called. Instead, it's simply an Oklahoma State turnover. And, Fran, they find themselves very quickly down by double digits again with 3 minutes to go in the first half of the game. You have said multiple times tonight you think is a must-win.
Critical. And you know what I said earlier about Baylor, right? 4 minutes in, workmanlike. So far, that's what it's been for them. Good defense, timely shooting, playing shorthanded. And just winning DNA right now.
Bridges stumbles, keeps his dribble, keeps the possession alive. 5 on the shot clock, way outside. Another shot buried.
How about that?
Adam Flagler from NBA range.
Dale Bonner could have shot it, but he thought better of it. He passed it to one of the best shooters in the country. Great teamwork.
It's a 19-4 run.
Wow.
Asbury from the corner. That's a big one for Oklahoma State. They needed it.
They sure did. You know, they obviously missed Keontae George. He's going to the NBA. He's had a great year. Not to say the defense is better, but when you put Dale Bonner on the court with this group, the way they were Saturday against Texas, their defense is excellent right now.
Cruising to the goal, but missing the short one. L.J. Cryer, and numbers the other way for the Pokes. Deion Williams finds the cutting Smith, and he hammers it home.
That's 5 relatively easy points for the Cowboys, and they can use a little more of that.
Scott Drew senses the same. He's calling timeout.
Breakdown here because nobody gets Tyreek Smith. Take a look. Transition. Play with energy.
Only been in double figures 4 times this season. Has not hit double digits in scoring in their last 17 games, but an impactful first half tonight. And they need it in the absence of Avery Anderson. Chachua through a double team plus the foul. That's just strength and desire underneath.
No question. And what he does really well, he gets out of screens quickly. Watch how quickly he explodes to the basket. Gives you a good target and a great catch. Great pass inside right there. Good look. He is really good, Bob. He's like a tight end, right? He's going to catch that in traffic, and then he finishes. By the way, Everyday John obviously was working on his shooting while he was out rehabbing that knee, because the guy's made 6 of 11 threes this year. It has been pretty accurate at the foul line.
That foul called on Asbury. He fades away and hits a triple. That's a big one.
The Texas State transfer plays with a lot of chip on his shoulder, and he's a high-energy competitor. He starts making shots. That bodes well.
He's hit his last 2. Bridges left alone. Yes.
I said it before, there's so much similarity between Bridges and McCullough. Are they great shooters? No, they're capable, but they do so many other things to help you win games.
The 8th made 3 here in the first half for Baylor. And that's the single biggest reason why they've got this 13-point lead. They're making shots.
Yes.
Deion Williams, the old school scoop and follow.
A good effort by the freshman from Jonesboro, Arkansas, giving them good minutes. I think Mike Boynton right now, yes, he needs shot making, but he's just looking for the right combination that's going to compete for the next 20-plus minutes.
Shot clock turned off. Final 10 seconds of the opening half. Bonner will drive it. Kicks it outside. Chachua over his head.
Oh boy.
Fire for 3. Doesn't get the roll. And it will be an 11-point Baylor lead at halftime. Well, L.J. Cryer and Adam Flagler in the absence of Keontae.
Cryer and Adam Flagler, because they can hit from anywhere, have to be better at defending the 3. And he said, we got to make our layups. We're getting easy looks. They're just not falling.
And on top of that, 4 of 18 from three-point land in the first half for Oklahoma State, only 22%. Overall, they shot only 35%. And if Baylor's making 50% of their threes, you're in trouble.
Yes, and the Cowboys are getting very good looks out of their offense. They're just not making those shots. Going to see this guy starting the second half.
Bonner, shovel pass. Bridges, the jump hook goes.
2 West Virginia boys right there. Jalen Bridges from Fairmont, West Virginia, and of course, Bonner, the transfer from Fairmont State.
All right, what has to happen for Oklahoma State here in the second half in a must-win game?
Honestly, Bob, they're getting good shots. They're Big 12 players. You got to make shots. And this guy needs to touch it more inside because he's hard to guard.
Caleb Boone through a double team. Lays it in.
Yeah, he can do it. He's really, really improved his low post offense. And yes, you have to make threes, and you can play through the big fella as well.
Bridges to work. Lost it on the way up and a foul call.
That was a terrific job by Flo Thamba. That's what we call a ghost screen. Flo looks like he's going to set a screen. He disappears, and both defenders go with Flo. They do this as well as anybody. Watch Flo come up and disappear. Now, one of the 2 white jerseys doesn't know who's going to guard Bridges on the drive. These 2 guys, Thamba, Chachua, outstanding screeners.
It's almost a football concept when you see a couple of receivers stacked or one of those bunch sets, and the defensive backs just don't know who to take, and all of a sudden 2 guys take one, and you've got a chunk play.
That's an indecision decision.
Right, you're trying to create that indecision.
Absolutely, and that's what you're trying to do in pick and roll. Sometimes you screen, sometimes you go screen and disappear.
The hustle play by Bonner to knock it out. It's been a quiet night for Bryce Thompson as well.
I want to tell you about Bonner. You ready for this? Last 6 games before Saturday, the guy played like 11 minutes, 3 DNPs. He always stayed ready. And Saturday, 20 minutes, double-figure scoring, and great defense. He's doing it right now.
Here is Thompson, only played 7 minutes of the first half, picked up a couple of fouls. He only has 2 shot attempts and gets caught in midair here. Flying in, an offensive rebound for Williams. And the freshman, Keon Williams, with a hustle bucket.
And he's been hustle bucketing all night since Mike Boynton put him in. Told you he reminds me of an Eddie Sutton guy, you know, just tough, hard-nosed, plays hard, defends. State champ last year in Arkansas.
He's got that ice-likely build.
Yes.
Flo Thamba, one-on-one. Gets shut down by Boone in the post. Can't knock it down. A chance for Oklahoma State to get back to single digits.
Good help by Flo.
From the wing, it's Wright. Big triple from the corner for John Michael Wright.
And he needs to do that. When he was at High Point, he took about 30% of his team shots. He's a volume scorer. He can do that for this team, and they need it. They need it for the next 17 and a half minutes.
Bonner penetrates. Old school floater is good.
You know who recruited him to Fairmont State? A guy named Joe Mazzulla.
Asbury, the in-transition three. Looked like it was almost all the way down, and it rimmed back out.
Whatever happened to Joe Mazzulla?
You know everything. I thought you'd tell me.
Well, he's the new head coach, full-time, no more interim, the Boston Celtics.
And deserved.
Yep.
Bridges straight away. That's short.
Great opportunity for the Cowboys right now. Every possession matters.
Caleb Boone looks diagonal. It's a wide open three, and that one not there for Bryce Thompson.
Good pass by Caleb Boone. They set a great screen on the backside, and Bryce just couldn't knock it down. If you're Oklahoma State now, you just keep grinding and grinding. Make sure you don't give up any easy ones, and then just continue to play tough and hope that the shots fall.
Big screen set by Thamba. Flagler comes up short for three, but a hustle rebound for Bridges. The extra effort for Thamba again on the offensive glass. Off of the Cryer miss. Bonner for three. Yes!
Man, that is, Bob, I can't say enough about this kid. He made 2 threes on Saturday, and one of the things that he did at Fairmont State was he shot the ball well. He has not shot the ball well for Baylor since he's been here, but man, the last couple games, that's big time.
Asbury trapped in the corner. He needs some help. And a foul call. If that's on Thamba, that's his third. And it is on Flo Thamba. Baylor back on top by double digits on.
Played very, very well over the last 11 games, Baylor. Remember, this team, Bob, lost its first 3 Big 12 contests. 0-3 to start the season.
Asbury, John Machachua caught on a switch, lost it.
Well,
and nearly losing it as well as Caleb Lohner, and then throws it right to Boone. Asbury from the wing, way short. Offensive rebound, Boone. Can't hit the bunny. He'll try again. That's short, and Lohner's got the rebound.
I mean, these are baskets you just cannot. You cannot let these opportunities go by. And this is a team, Bob, that 4 games ago was headed to the NCAA tournament. This is a critical 15 minutes.
Shot clock at 7.
Watch the screening. He's such a good screener.
Bonner gives it up on the back cut. Lohner looked like he stepped on the end line. Well, Thursday night, we've got a college hoops triple header. Michigan, Illinois square off at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. Then it's Arizona State, number 4 UCLA, followed by number 8 Arizona and USC. All 3 games are on ESPN and the app. That triple header comes your way Thursday night.
And congratulations to UCLA and Mick Cronin, his first Pac-12 regular season title. They clinched it yesterday at Colorado. Another good deflection by Bonner.
And a takeaway by Lohner, another turnover for Oklahoma State. Flagler, one-handed drive, met by Boone.
Well, he lost that ball going in one-handed.
Thompson out of control, offensive foul.
Bonner Bonner. Watch Dale Bonner. Now, he's backpedaling, he's legal, and the offensive player runs him over. It's close. I thought he was set. Maybe he wasn't, but I'll just say this about Dale Bonner. This kid 5 years ago had nothing. Played at Cleveland Heights High School, no Division I offers, goes to Fairmont, transfers to Baylor, was supposed to redshirt last year. They lose Langston Love. He sits the bench the last 3 weeks. And when he's called on the last 2 games, he's playing great.
And now he'll have a role the rest of the season.
I think so.
Pryor out to the wing. Bonner returns it to him for 3. The rebound, hustled down by Cisse in the corner.
He's like that, the NFL veteran, like that 5th or 6th defensive back that you know you can always count on when you have to play him.
Asbury can't knock it down, and the long rebound to Flagler. And Bonner will back it out.
I said it early, Bob. I'll keep saying it right now. Baylor, not great, but just workmanlike. Playing shorthanded, solid. They know who they are.
Kamachachua launches, but a whistle and a foul called away from the ball. That'll bring John Michael Wright back in the game. And Bridges returns for Bonner as it's been a tough night for Bryce Thompson. He'll head to the Oklahoma State bench.
You know what we know about Bridges and Bonner, right? They love pepperoni rolls. Come on now, Fairmont. Get me some pepperoni rolls from Fairmont, West Virginia. I'm golden, right?
You're shameless.
Yeah,
I'm embarrassed for you.
Home of the pepperoni roll.
Oh, I have no doubt the box will show up on your front steps in the not-too-distant future. It's happened before.
Hey, folks, bring those to Kansas City for me. Mountaineer fans, please. So many great fan bases in this league.
That's one of the best scenes you're ever going to have in sports. Outside that building,
yes.
The college basketball festival that shows up in the power and light as a moving screen is set by Caleb Lohner. So Oklahoma State gets it back down by 12. 13 minutes to go. And again, friend, what you think is a must-win resume-building game for Oklahoma State?
Yes, they've got to go Saturday to Texas Tech. Winnable, sure. Easy? Absolutely not. Not the way the Red Raiders are playing right now. And that crowd out there at United Spirit Arena has been off the charts this year. A little zone by Baylor. Now they do this on occasion. Change up the rhythm of the game.
Boone at the elbow. Across the lane. Tough, deep jump hook that turns into a pass to Cisse, and he couldn't hit at the front of the rim. It's Baylor ball.
These are point-blank shots they have to make. And you got a 7-foot and a 6'10" in here.
Well, to the point you made about this Oklahoma State team losing 4 in a row, prior to losing these last 4, they had won 7 of 8, and that includes wins over TCU and a sweep of Iowa State, as Flagler can't hit from 3.
That's right.
An offensive rebound for Bridges, and he is fouled. But you're a legit team if you're winning games like that.
And Bob, they are legit with Avery Anderson. You know, they played January without Cisse. Texas Tech played most of the season without AMAC. It's amazing. You know, Mike Miles, in this league, if you have a key injury, unless you're, and I can't even think of a team that could, you know, maybe Kansas could play without one of their starters or Baylor, but you can't play without a key guy in this league. There's just too much parity.
Chris Harris picks up the foul. And that will put Pryor at the line.
I think that's what's made the league so historic, is that we know on any given night that the 8th or 9th or 10th place team can beat the top team in the league, and it's not really an upset, you know? 8 of the 10 teams in this league have had at least 3-game losing streaks this season.
Well, 2/3 of the way through the season, Joe Lunardi had all 10 teams in the field. I mean, when have you ever heard of that at any point in any college basketball season? One of the real, true prognosticators we've ever had in sports. Joe Lenardi is going to always about 98% pick the NCAA tournament field. Yep. He picked all 10 at one point to be in.
And I would say, minus the injuries to those players I just mentioned, we would be going into Kansas City with all 10 legitimately having a chance to get at-large bids. Obviously, one team's going to get the automatic qualifier by winning. I'm not saying they would have got all 10 in, but all 10 would have gone to Kansas City with a chance. As it is, Oklahoma now has got to they've got to win the tournament, maybe a couple of others.
There's a jumper from the corner again for the freshman, Keon Williams. And the lead at 11. 12 minutes to go, so Oklahoma State still in this game.
They need a run.
Warner with another big screen at midcourt that John Michael Wright didn't know was coming.
Well, he needs to have a teammate. He needs to have a talk with a teammate and say, you better call that screen out before you get me killed, like right here, like Cisse just did.
Bonner tracks it down in the backcourt, 5 to shoot. Bonner splits the double team, lays it in with 1 on the timer.
Bonner. Dale Bonner, ultimate teammate. I asked him today at practice, were you upset about not playing? He said, I was upset, but I know I was being a good teammate. And every one of his teammates said the same thing.
Offensive rebound, Cisse can't hit the putback. Keon Williams keeps it alive.
This kid, man, he's playing his heart out tonight.
Harris, that won't go. Offensive rebound, Tyreek Smith fumbled in the corner, and Williams couldn't save it.
Dale Bonner night in Stillwater. We talk about George and Flagler and Cryer and every good go to this thing. This is how good it's going to be. But every game is going to be a Texas cage match. And every game is going to have NCAA tournament implications. And every game will be sold out. And even the fans from the other 6 schools, many of them will be in that building Wednesday night because they want to see what we want to see, which is amazing competition. It's not the best league of all time. It's not. I was in the Big Ten, the Big East. But from 10 to 1, I've never been a part of a league watching it, covering, coaching in it, that has so much parity from top to bottom. Great coaches. 5 Final Four coaches in this league. Great players, too, obviously.
And here is Bonner, a great role player tonight. 7 to shoot, pulls up. That one comes up short. Bryce Thompson off to Harris.
This good help defense. You see the green jerseys converge on the dribble.
Keon Williams lost his footing. The takeaway and a foul call.
Yep. Foul on the freshman. Flagler was trying to look to pass to somebody. And the freshman was, he was a little wrestling. We talked about Texas cage match. A little wrestling going on right here. Watch Keon Williams going to get that foot involved in the play.
Now, Pat Adams immediately said, we're going to go to the monitor and take a look.
Yeah. I think
after they made the call.
I don't think this is a flagrant one. This is just, to me, a common foul.
Are they thinking that maybe it was an intentional, possible stick out of the foot trip attempt by Keon Williams? Just want to make sure that that's not what happened?
Could you hook and hold with your feet? I don't know. No, they just got a common foul.
Just a common foul is what they come away with.
There we go. We call that a little extracurricular activity. And the freshman has played well. He has.
A career-high 12 points tonight.
Yeah. I was talking to Desi Sills on Saturday, the Kansas State's outstanding transfer, and I said, hey, this kid from Jonesboro, you know this guy? He goes, he's my first cousin. Okay, well, you spend a whole year in the league and you're always learning something new. And Desi's had a phenomenal season, as has Jerome Tang and that entire Kansas State team. Scotty.
Lothamba in the post.
Meeks.
Shut down by Cisse. Comes up short. Bonner the recovery. Flagler for 3. That's an air ball. No, he turns into a shot clock violation.
Bob, we mentioned Scott Drew. How about this? Jerome Tang has a chance to be National Coach of the Year. Paul Mills is 20 at ORU, former Baylor assistant, 27-4, 18-0 in the Summer League, and Grant McCaslin at North Texas has 24 wins. What a job those former assistants of Scott Drew have done. Think about that. Jerome Tang, I think, is closing in on a National Player of the Year, a Coach of the Year, excuse me.
Bryce Thompson draws the foul. That's Flo Thamba's fourth. And for a guy like Jerome Tang, you feel so good that he waited so long, finally got the opportunity that now looks like it's literally the perfect opportunity for him.
You know, his church in Waco, he had a prayer card he and his wife filled out, and he filled it out. Not, I want to be a coach. You know, say a prayer for me. I want to be a Power 6 head coach. And he waited and waited, and he waited a long time because he was offered some good jobs. And he got a Power 6 job thanks to Gene Taylor, the AD at Kansas State.
Cryer bumps Bryce Thompson.
And Jerome Tang got the season sweep over Scott Drew, and after that last game when Drew went to the podium, he said, first of all, Coach Tang should be National Coach of the Year, period. I mean, they had two players. They filled the whole roster. They picked up at the bottom. He'll get my vote because he's not just because he's my brother, but because he's earned it.
I think he's earned it, Chris. I think you're exactly right. There is no way anybody thought Kansas State would be this good. Nobody. Not even Emaw.
For three. The long rebound. There's Keon Williams again. Tough shot. And that comes up short. Nine minutes to go. If there is an Oklahoma State run to be had, it better start soon.
Very soon.
Chamwa. That's short.
You almost have to have a comeback offense. We used to practice playing quickly when we were down like this, and sometimes it means throwing caution to the wind and shooting quickly. There you go.
It's a good-looking drive by Bryce Thompson. That might be the best move we have seen him make tonight. And that cuts the lead down to 11 with 8.5 to go. Now, Bryce Thompson's a double-digit scorer. They're without Avery Anderson. So you're without a double-digit scorer, and one of your other double-digit scorers has been quiet. Where does the offense come from as the floater goes for Adam Flagler?
But what you have to do right now is everything has got to be downhill to the rim or drive it and kick it. But here's what Scott Drew's doing. He sees that they're going to start to put it on the floor, so what does he do? He goes zone to try to negate the dribble penetration. That's the other thing about this league. The coaches make great adjustments.
Thompson. Tyreek Smith. Foul called on the floor. And that will be on Chamwa. Under 8 minutes to go on Big Monday here in Stillwater.
Posting all of this on his Twitter feed. Such a great personality. So funny trying to get guys and students to come fill up this great big building on Monday nights.
Well, he said for a first-time head coach, remember, he was hired with no coaching experience. Mike's done a very, very good job here. He's really engaged the community. That's a foul at the student body.
A shot right to the back of Chamwa.
And how about this, Bob? Think about this. Jerome Tang, Tommy Lloyd, last 2 years, no head coaching experience. Tommy, National Coach of the Year. Likely Jerome Tang. What's that tell you? There are some really good long-time assistants out there that are ready to be head coaches. It's actually a few on that Baylor bench. John Jacobs and Alvin Brooks, the third. Our two guys come to mind. And Mike Boynton. By the way, Mike Boynton's mentor, Buzz Peterson. You remember that name? Now assistant GM of the Charlotte Hornets. He is here tonight. He gave Mike his first full-time coaching opportunity at Coastal Carolina. There you see Buzz doing a little scouting. And Mike had played for Eddie Fogler, longtime North Carolina coach, his coach at South Carolina. When Buzz was leaving Tennessee to go to Coastal Carolina, Eddie Fogler said to Mike Boynton, you know, if you want a job, why don't you go drive to Knoxville? He drove 7 hours, knocked on Buzz Peterson's door and said, Coach, if you need somebody on your staff, I'd love to be on it. Buzz said, come on in. They spent 4 hours together. Next thing you know, Mike Boynton's a full-time coach at Division I.
He told us as soon as he kind of got the surprised look off of his face of how did you find where I live?
Yes.
And realized that wasn't some wacky person knocking on his door. They spent hours together, and it ended up working for him for 2 years.
2 years, and when you think of the mentors, Frank Martin, Dave Odom, Eddie Fogler, Mike Young, the great coach at Virginia Tech, Larry Davis at Furman, Mike Boynton's had a lot of great coaching mentors.
Well, now he needs his team to pick it up. Down by 13 with under 7 minutes to go. Here is Bonner dribbling the shot clock down. Off to Cryer. He gets shut down. Has to launch one. That comes up short. But he ends up with an offensive rebound. That's rejected by Cisse, but it will still stay with Baylor.
They'll reset that shot clock. Flagler gets it up. Knows the clock is low. Gets the own rebound. Cisse says, not at my house.
Tyreek Smith was shaken up on that last play, limped to the bench, replaced by Caleb Boone. So this is, I think, the first time Boone and Cisse have been on the floor together. Bridges for three.
Big time. Hasn't had a great shooting year. And we've talked about so many other things he helps you do to win games, but he's capable of making that shot and spends a lot of time at practice working on it. I'll tell you, every day John is getting close to being back.
Cisse with the left hand.
Pretty move. Big fella. Big fella had a bad ankle injury in January. Was playing great. Cisse, really not the same player right now, but trying to give it a go, especially without Avery Anderson.
6 minutes to go, and now Oklahoma State is really playing with no margin for error, down by 14.
That's exactly right. They may have to start shooting the long ball, too. That's a foul.
Instead, it's a wide open wing jumper that's good again for Jalen Bridges.
We saw him make that shot at West Virginia time and time again. I didn't realize he had the grit and toughness and all the dirty work things that he's done for this team.
Asbury fouled by Bridges. Well, tomorrow night, join us for a Super Tuesday college basketball doubleheader. It begins at 7 Eastern as NC State takes on Duke, and then it's Texas Tech and number 3 Kansas in the second half of the Super Tuesday double dip tomorrow night. Both games on ESPN and the app.
Kansas will go to Texas on Saturday. There'll be some Big 12 regular season championship implications. By the way, we talk about National Coach of the Year coaches. We know great coaches like Mark Few, Bill Self, Matt Painter usually don't get National Coach of the Year anymore, Bob. But Bill Self has had to replace 75% of his scoring from the national championship team, including 2 first-round picks. What a job he's done. The coaching in this league is phenomenal.
Well, who's won the last 2 national championships?
Well, the Big 12 has.
Big 12 teams. Yeah. And right now, if you look at Joe Lunardi's projections, you've got Bridges shooting a 3. That comes up short. But Kansas as a 1 seed, and then almost the entire 2 line right now is nothing but Big 12 teams.
Yeah, but you go back to 2003 as we see the standings in this league, and 2003, Oklahoma and Texas were number 1 seeds. Kansas was a 2 seed. Texas and Kansas and got to the Final Four in New Orleans. And of course, that was the year that Carmelo Anthony and company won the national title. And that guy, you just saw, Scott Drew, was going to get the job at Baylor that summer. That was 20 years ago.
Now, speaking of playing with no margin for error, an error made there. Keon Williams with a lane violation. As Flo Thamba's going to get another opportunity here on the front end, and he makes it count.
I love this. Flo Thamba was shooting 40% from the foul line in December. He's up to 64% on the season. Watch how simple his shot is. Chest to eyes, no movement. He eliminated all the moves in his shot except for chest to eyes. And the rest is history for him.
Bryce Thompson lobs it, and Cisse finishes. And a quick timeout is called by Mike Boynton. 4:54 to go. Oh, yeah.
You've been in Edmonton this season?
I was at Edmonton multiple times last season.
Yes.
But I've got a Edmonton Oilers game coming up against Buffalo in a couple of weeks.
Very nice.
I've seen them multiple times. And look, if you are someone that doesn't even follow hockey and you have a chance to watch Connor McDavid play, you will instantaneously realize you're watching about as good a player as you've ever seen at anything.
I love that.
When he's out there. As Bonner calls a timeout to maintain possession for Baylor with 4:43 to go. And Dale Bonner, back-to-back games.
He really tried hard to be a good defender. He does so many other things well. I think that Keontae George resting that ankle back in Waco, and maybe we'll see him Saturday. We'll likely see him in the Big 12 tournament. If they're a better defensive team, it doesn't matter if you take Keontae or Flagler or Cryer off this guard group. Dale Bonner makes him a better defensive team. And he's going to make him a better defensive team in the tournament. NCAA tournament.
Asbury cruises in for two, and now, for the first time, we see the full-court pressure from Oklahoma State trying to create some havoc.
Well, a lot of ball handlers out there for Baylor, and they've seen this before. And
tough to do against this team.
It is. It really is. 3 guards plus Bridges is like a wing hybrid forward.
Flagler, 5 to shoot, and a foul call.
You know, I mentioned the coaching, Bob, in the league, and it's great. All these guys around college basketball, SEC, ACC, Big East, Big 12, Big 10, you got great coaches in college basketball. What I love about this league, like we were talking about this, every time Baylor plays Kansas, one team or the other is making an adjustment to the other team based on the last game. You know, if you look at Kansas losing at Baylor, Bill Self was switching at all 5 spots. They switch early in that game in Lawrence. They're getting blown out. Bill makes the adjustment. If Scott sees them in Kansas City, he'll make the adjustment back to Bill. And someone had a great point. It's like the NBA playoffs. These coaches in this league are constantly going to school on what the other coach did to them to cause them problems. And it's great coaching in this league.
Good hands, Dale Bonner again.
Amazing. Yep, he traveled. Bonner night.
Baylor gives it right back, though, in the backcourt. Still a commanding lead for the Bears. ESPN's exclusive presentation.
Really tough tonight, gentlemen.
Yep, and there's no doubt, Scott, Oklahoma State is feeling the brunt of that. Scott talked about bad beats. Doesn't look like Oklahoma State's going to provide that tonight. And he also talked about the bubble. Coming into tonight, Joe Lunardi had Oklahoma State as the literal last team as an at-large bid to make the field in the NCAA tournament. They will drop off of that line if form holds here and they lose. That'll put a lot of pressure on them to not only win at Texas Tech on Saturday, but then go to Kansas City. And you'd have to think, Fran, get at least one win in the Big 12 tournament and keep their fingers crossed.
They were 7-5, Bob, and if they lose this game, they'll have lost 5 in a row. Obviously, injuries play a part, but absolutely, this opens the door for West Virginia, Texas Tech. You know, somebody else to get hot now in the last couple games. Last we heard, that game up in Ames was a close one, early second half, West Virginia and the Cyclones. And minus those injuries I talked about to those teams, this league would be even crazier than it already is.
Here is Bonner, again taking the shot clock down. Flagler, off the front rim.
Got to shoot threes now, folks.
And there's one from right. Air ball. Cisse keeps it alive, fouled. And that will put Musa Cisse at the free throw line. It'll be a 1-and-1, the 7th foul on Baylor as Jalen Bridges picks it up. That's his 3rd.
Well, coming into the weekend, and I've been here for 4 days, as you know, if you're Oklahoma State, you had Kansas State and Baylor back-to-back. A sweep would have put you in solid position for like a 7 or 8 seed. Not that I'm a Joey Lunardi guy, you know what I mean. I don't know the seeding off of 1 or 2 wins, but even a split would have looked really good. And right now, that looks like it's in serious jeopardy. And now you got to go to Texas Tech, and Mark Adams has got the Red Raiders playing really well. And they will definitely have to make some noise in Kansas City.
The made free throws at least allow for some full court pressure, but As you talked about earlier, Baylor has a lot of confident veteran players on the floor.
Yep.
And they make getting through that pressure look awfully easy.
I think that Oklahoma State going into Kansas City, they might be best to press more and play a little frenetically and, up-tempo defense.
Bamba, 1 on the shot clock. That hit the backboard.
But they used all 30 seconds of the clock right now, and that's what Scott Drew's thinking. Just let's get out of here.
Asbury scoops and finishes.
Now remember that crazy performance in Iowa City over the weekend where Iowa made up 11 points in a minute. I think that's only the 3rd time in the history of college basketball that happened, or something crazy.
Here is Bonner. Wide open. That 3 comes up short for Flagler, and a foul call. Tonight's player of the game brought to you by Phillips 66. And sometimes you really like to make sure a role player that does all the little things to help his team win gets recognized. And Dale Bonner, emblematic of that tonight.
Yep, he's been in witness protection for a couple weeks and hiding in Waco. But he waited his turn. Everybody talks about, and he got the opportunity tonight because of Langston Love's scratched cornea. Hopefully that's not serious, but everybody in this program raves about what an incredible teammate Dale Bonner is. And tonight he's not only a great teammate, but he's had a great performance.
That was unfortunate. After Jalen Bridges picked up his 4th, Cisse to the free throw line for a 1-and-1, and he will not get an opportunity to shoot the 2nd. For obvious reasons.
Yes, and I see this pressure right here. I think there's a turnover. I think that might be a way for this team to play with more juice. They certainly have enough athletes. They're not going to shoot it great every night. You can't count on them to make threes. Maybe you just play frenetically this way and create some offense off your defense.
Yeah, for lack of a better word, maybe bedlam.
Yeah,
at the start of games to try and create that type of uncertainty in your opponent.
A little bit of bedlam.
There's a finger roll for John Michael Wright. 90 seconds to go, and the lead down to 11. Bamba hits the underside of the rim.
Watch out.
And Cisse hands it off to John Michael Wright. Wright for 3.
That's good.
Yes! Quick timeout called by Mike Boynton. Is Baylor all of a sudden going to let Oklahoma State back in this game?
We saw this Saturday in Iowa City. You end up killing your own momentum because you're trying to get that charter flight plane propeller going, and we're going to get out of here, get our sandwiches, and get on the plane. And you can't do that.
Well, Baylor as a team is the 2nd best free throw shooting team in the Big 12 as well. So as long as they take care of the basketball, if Oklahoma State puts them on the line, then at some point you'd think they would ice the game, but the pressure now forces a timeout by the Bears, so they only have 1 left with a $1:12 remaining.
And what's really interesting are all really good shooters. Bridges, 77. Cryer, obviously, in the 80s.
Flagler, Pryor are both in the mid to upper 80s in terms of free throw percentage. So you have to think that's where Scott Drew will want to go with the ball. There's the double team.
And Bamba's open down the court again. Not going to throw it to him. There's
the home run ball. This time he makes no mistake as he hangs from the rim.
Well, they brought the blitz that time, and Flagler hit the home run ball.
Bryce Thompson hits a 3.
All right, that's a good trade-off. That's 3 for 2. Keep the press on. Don't waste too much time before you have to start to foul if you can.
Bonner escapes. 3-on-1. Bridges, finger roll. Offensive foul.
Now, they could go to the monitor to see. Let's see if Cisse is going to be okay.
He really looks banged up. It looks like his left leg.
All the way to the rim right now, but if you get the 3-point shot, you have to start to let them fly.
Baylor led by 19 with 5 minutes to go. It's down to 7, and Oklahoma State has the ball. There's the lead for Asbury, the bullet inside. Wright for three.
Good.
Yes! It's down to 4 with 35 seconds to go, and Oklahoma State spends their last timeout.
This is, you got a chance, folks, to see it.
Got the arrow.
Absolutely.
If you get a tie-up, all of a sudden you're grabbing an extra possession in the last half minute of a two-possession game.
If you see this alignment, Oklahoma State's daring Baylor to throw it long, and they won't.
It's the Flagler in the corner. Did he fumble it out? Who does it belong to? It looks like it will stay with the Bears.
Well, they can review it. Pat Adams says, I think we should look at it.
Oklahoma State wants it to be looked at as well. Let's take another look.
They're playing with no safety. They're throwing caution to the wind, and everybody is up. And you know why you dare him to throw it long? Because you might throw it away. Look where he's taking it out.
And Baylor lines up almost a diagonal line out near midcourt, trying to create an angle. They've got one timeout left. Will they use it? It's deflected out.
That's almost a break, because now they can take it out on the sideline. That was like the worst place on the court you could inbound that ball. Now Scott Drew wants Cisse to back up.
So a little more breathing room now for the Bears. 34 seconds to go.
I'll tell you, look at Cisse on the ball. That is awesome. 7'1".
Just good to see him on the floor.
Yeah. Whoa.
Cryer able to get it ahead to Flagler.
Got to foul. Got to foul soon. Has to foul somebody. There you go.
They foul Bonner.
Yep. Mid-70s.
Here's a 76% free throw shooter, but of course as a part-time player has not gone to the line nearly as often as most players on the floor. And how often has he shot true pressure free throws this year? Probably not at all.
Not many times, especially not lately. And as brilliant as he's played tonight, these are pressure free throws.
He has answered the bell all night long.
I'm telling you, man, he might get player of the game. Wait a minute. We've already done that.
Good prediction. Welcome to 15 minutes ago.
Oh, boy.
He's got them both.
Oh, man, those were big.
Ties his career high. He's got 14. Asbury.
Got to shoot it. Should have shot it.
Right. He'll drive it. Lost it on the way to the basket, but a foul called. So that will put John Michael Wright at the free throw line to shoot 2. And he can make it a 4-point game again with 15 seconds to go.
When you come over midcourt, Bob, and you've got any kind of look, you know, I'm not talking about half court, but you got to pull it. You got to pull it. Pull and shoot it. You don't have time to waste. I love the energy they played with the last 4 minutes.
And the foul was on Flo Thamba, so he fouls out. So Thamba and Bridges both have fouled out for Baylor as they try to hold on for these last 15 seconds.
And let's point out, Keontae George is back in Waco watching, biting his nails. You know, Langston Love's got a towel over his eye. Not easy.
And a huge miss for John Michael Wright.
There you see Langston. Scratched cornea. Hopefully he'll be okay.
And that'll bring Moussa Cisse back in, and he is fighting it. You can see he is very much playing with a hitch in his giddy-up, but he's out there for his team for the last 15 seconds to try and guard the baseline.
Here's the football play. 5 out of bounds. This is legal after a basket. Everybody runs out.
It's to Bonner.
Yep.
They have to give a foul, and they do.
Dale Bonner did the old down and out, Bob. See that? That was a hitch route.
So he'll go back to the free throw line. .7 seconds to go. And it looks like Bryce Thompson has now fouled out. He gave that last foul. Had no choice.
Yep. Tell you about Baylor, you know, they've had an up and down year, and I say that in the sense that they've had a lot of injuries. They lost the first 3. I think with all these guys coming off the bench like Bonner and Lohner and everyday John back, I got a feeling they have not peaked yet. They're 7th in the country, so, good for them. And what, they're going to get their 22nd win here if they don't blow this lead. But I still think Baylor's got a lot of good basketball left that we haven't seen yet.
One more coming for Dale Bonner as he is in search of a new career high.
I tell you, as impressive as the career high, if he gets it, is the defense tonight. He was magnificent.
He's got 15. Back-to-back games in double figures, a new career high for Bonner. And it's a 6-point lead, so this has to go up from 3, you would think. Asbury gives it up underneath. An easy flush by Woody Newton, but that took too much time. It's into Flagler. He's trapped and fouled with 4.7 to go.
This is one of those games as a coach where you're going to look at the first 35 minutes and say, wow, we did a lot of good things. And then Scott Drew can show this film to his team tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday. Typically in this league, if you're a team that plays on Monday in February, you're going to give your team 2 days off. They may not come back until Thursday. And they're going to learn from this last 5 minutes.
Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt, only moments away. As soon as Big Monday wraps up, it looks like Baylor will indeed survive. And maybe you take something as well from having a team come at you the way that Oklahoma State did and finding a way to fight through it, survive the run, and win on the road.
And work on your press offense for, later in the season, Big 12 or NCAA tournament.
Here is Asbury across the timeline for 3 at the horn, and Baylor survives by 6 over Oklahoma State here on Big Monday. So Scott Drew's team, number 7 in America,